You know, sometimes if you think this stuff is easy, it is not. Yesterday we had winds and then rain. We couldn't film then. Today we have bluebird skies, bright sunshine, and even more wind. So up front, I apologize if there's any sort of breezy wind noise in this episode. Hey, I'm Matt. You can call me Coach. This week we are talking about, believe it or not, relationships. That relationship between you and your landscape. Hey, are you guys good friends or are you just acquaintances? We'll get into it. Thanks for joining me. Stick with me to the end so you get a good grasp on the topic we are covering this week. Hey, I'm Matt. You can call me Coach. This channel is all about DIY landscape education, design concepts and theories in an easy to understand way so you guys can tackle projects yourself, get professional results, save a boatload of money in the process, and just as important, be self-reliant in this day and age. Man, you know, after 20 years in the green industry, I really believe I bring with me a lot of knowledge and experience that I really want to share with you guys, the new, modern, educated, self-reliant homeowner of today. So I firmly believe that my audience, either here on YouTube or on the podcast, I believe that they're all smart, educated, knowledgeable people, and as being part of that, you probably surround yourself with the same kind of people for your inner circle and maybe even some of your outer circle. We tend to flock together type of thing. And where am I going with all that? Well, there's a correlation between relationships, not only with people, but relationships with your landscape. And that's what we're talking about this week. Are you guys good friends or are you just acquaintances? You know, in my belief, and it's just mine, maybe you share some of the same thoughts as I do, but you know, friends are kind of few and far between, but there's those folks out there that have your back, you know, the people that you can count on when the chips are down and be there to celebrate when the chips are up. They care about you as much as you care about them, and many times, at least a handful of times, we have friends in our lives that are sometimes almost closer than good family members. Then there's those folks that we consider acquaintances. And in my humble opinion, acquaintances are people who you know, probably on a first name basis, and everything is just kind of, I don't know, kind of like superficial. You know, you don't really know where they live. You've never been to their house. You say hi and you say bye at work, or you wave, you know, hey John, hey Sally in the neighborhood, but you're really not deep, good friends. You know, I think compared to like when I was a kid, I think it takes a lot of work. It really is a lot of work, a labor of love, but it takes a lot of work to really nurture and grow a friendship. It really does. In this day and age with the high-paced, you know, touch it and go type of lifestyles that we have, where we're just a click away from something of interest and a click away from it, it's hard to really nurture that human friendship, that one that transcends that little superficial acquaintance level to where you really know the person. You know, you know them inside and out and you really value their friendship. You know, with everything being so superficial and so materialistic in this day and age, and with all the stressors that we have to bear on our shoulders all the time now, with things like pandemics and vaccines and politics and wars, all those stressors, you know, isn't it really important to have those close friends around you that you can count on, that you can talk to, they can talk to you, and you guys get through it together? I believe it is. And it's a lost art. It really is. It's becoming a very lost art. So stick with me here because we are getting to the meat of the video. So Coach, what are you doing? What are you trying to do here? You trying to draw a correlation or an analogy between friendships and acquaintances to our landscape? Is that what you're trying to do? Are you kind of low on content ideas there, buddy? No, I'm not. And stick with me because you'll see the correlation here right now. Sometimes as a creator, we don't always jump in front of the camera for entertainment purposes or just educational purposes. We often do it for be able to think beyond just that minute of watching a video and say, aha moments come to mind. And that's what I want to do here today. You know, landscapes in general, we either are acquaintances or we are very good friends. So what is your relationship with your landscape? Like with any relationship, whether it be people or pets or landscape, it doesn't matter. There's a direct correlation to effort in caring, perseverance, and education to get back what you put in. If you put in just a little bit of effort, just a wee bit, you know, like every other Saturday you mow the lawn and that's it, then that's exactly what the landscape's going to look like. Every 2 weeks it's going to look like you mowed the lawn, and everything else is maybe overgrown, needs a little pruning, could be a little spiffed up with some mulch or whatever. However, if you put in the effort to learn the plant material that you have surrounding your house, trees, shrubs, perennials, whatever, you find that once you know them, you know exactly what they need. You know that they're in the right place or not. Maybe you have to transplant them to a place where they're going to thrive a lot better. All of this is effort, and effort will be rewarded, especially from a landscape. Once you put in that extra effort, it will come back to you in tenfold, I guarantee it. It's kind of corny, but plants really know. Plants really know when they're surrounded by a person or persons that really know what the hell they're doing, and they really give a crap. Every single time I have had a new yard, either at a client's house or my own house after moving a couple of times, every single time I realized what I had and how I was going to go about improving it one way or another. And that's just effort. It is. And I've always been rewarded over the decades with a nice, functional, and beautiful landscape. Let's do a short example. So there's a neighbor on your block that you know is one of those people that care, that between them and their landscape, they are good friends. And this particular neighbor goes out one day and finds their spring or summer color that they're going to plant. And they find good quality nursery stock. They amend the soils and bed that they have to plant them in. They have the correct fertilizers. They have a good planting technique, and they plant it up on a Saturday afternoon. And you watch as they fertilize correctly, water correctly, weed correctly. They've put the plant material in the right place. And over the course of the growing season, these people are rewarded 10x with beautiful, beautiful perennial color or annual color, whatever it is. And then they don't even stop there. They continue to deadhead the plants. They trim them back a little bit, let them flush back out, give them a little extra fertilizer, make sure the bed is nice and moist and weed-free, and you see that bed perform. Then there's another neighbor down the street that admires this bed so much because it really looks good, because you can see that the caring and effort has been put into it. They want to do the same thing. But that neighbor down the street is only an acquaintance with his landscape. And as a result, he shortcuts a few things. He doesn't amend the bed. He doesn't use starter fertilizer. Maybe he leaves some of the weeds in there. He slams them in with an improper planting technique. And as a result, that bed never thrives like that person that he admires. Why is that? Well, it's a little bit of education. It's a little bit of caring. It's a relationship between what he's planting and his knowledge base. And in the end, it underperforms. It really does. It'll underperform. And as I've seen so many times, that neighbor down the street says, that's crappy nursery stock. The ground that I have here isn't as good as his down there. No, that's not the case. It's just a matter of not being good friends with your landscape and only being just an acquaintance, just a superficial relationship. You know, being good friends with your landscape and having that landscape in the neighborhood that people kind of point to and ooh and ah and see all the different things that you do through the growing season and how you maintain stuff. Most of the neighborhood really admires that. There's always those that are going to be a little bit envious And with that envy and jealousy often comes a little bit of neighborhood snickering, shall we say. And as a result, you know, misery kind of loves company. And people who are not happy with how nice your place looks oftentimes garner other neighbors, you know, and they talk behind the back. They talk about, you know, he must be really wealthy, or he must have professionals come in every week to doll that place up because, you know, it takes a lot of bucks to make it. Actually, it does not. And really, that neighbor that has the yard in the neighborhood that everybody always looks to as far as the flagship, it's just effort. It's effort and caring and a deep, knowledgeable relationship that person has with the landscape and the plants they have chosen to surround their house in. That alone is 50% of the battle. The other 50% is coming up with the time and the effort to do it. Keep it up, and it'll always reward you. It'll reward you in that harvest in the summertime if you have fruit trees. It'll reward you if you're taking care of a vegetable garden. It will reward you if you're into a perennial flower garden mixed with annuals and bulbs and stuff. All of these things is a knowledge-based, caring relationship that you have with that particular yard. Just like any other relationship, it's going to require effort, time, patience, perseverance, caring, everything that you put into those valued friends. I've known a lot of people over the years, and I have seen people who really are good. They're excellent at cultivating good, deep friendships with people. And then I have met a lot of people, especially in the vocational world, where everything is just superficial. And man, if you're gone, you're gone from their lives too. They're only friends with you at work, and that is it. Well, you know something? You got to come home to your house every single day, and you have to look at the landscape that surrounds your home every single day. So why not be in a good, deep, educational, valued relationship with that landscape, which is going to turn around and pay you off big time when you decide to sell and move on and move up. If you look at the efforts that a human being should put into things, like relationships, marriages, like careers and the job place, like your health and your body, my gosh, can you think of any more relationship that you should be intimate with is including your health and your well-being, by eating right, exercising, having a good lifestyle, having a good habits. Well, same thing goes for that lawn out there, same thing goes for those fruit trees, same thing goes for those shrubs and those flowers. All of that is extremely important when it comes to the value and health of your landscape. You know, over the years, I lost count decades ago on people that would come up with tens of thousands of dollars and hire me to come in and rip out their existing boring old landscape and put in something vibrant and brand new. And I used to watch these people kind of puff their chest out and know that they had the brand new landscape flagship in the neighborhood. And after every single job, I had developed a relationship with my customers, so I would educate them in the end of the project to tell them how to go about, how to do this and how to do that. So they had the educational tools on how to take care of this multi-thousand-dollar investment they just made. And they did. They had a beautiful yard during the honeymoon phase. And then life just gets in the way, and they sink back into old habits, and within a year or two, that flagship or that penthouse in the neighborhood sadly sank back into the outhouse of the neighborhood. And I can remember driving around to some old customers' places and just shaking my head and taking them off the referral list because it just wasn't an example I wanted to show new potential customers. So there's someone who was friends with their brand new investment, their brand new landscape in the beginning, and then they faded to nothing more than an acquaintance at the end. Now, do I have acquaintances in my life? Yeah, I do. Not as many as I used to. The acquaintance that really comes to mind, and you're going to kind of chuckle at this, is the engine under the hood of my truck. Yep, that engine and I are acquaintances. We kind of know each other only on a superficial level. That superficial level being, yeah, I can change the filters. Yeah, I can change the oil. I can fill it up with gas, I can check tire pressures, and that's about where it stops. But I care enough about that acquaintance that if it needs, recommended service, I get that acquaintance into a professional who has a much deeper knowledge and relationship with engines than Coach does. So, after all this, what relationship do you have with your landscape? Are you guys good friends, good long-term friends for as long as you're at your house that you're at now? Or are you just acquaintances? The value of a home today really warrants you being a good, knowledgeable friend. Having an acquaintance out there, you just kind of have that ho-hum type of landscape. One that doesn't raise any eyebrows, one that doesn't, it's just kind of, my priorities are elsewhere. And you know what? That's okay at times. But time to sell, you're going to want to get that friendship back in order. You're going to want to have that thing really dialed in, looking good with new mulch beds, new flowers, new everything. The house has to be in good shape, and you have to develop that friendship again. You really do. So why not just keep up the friendship from the beginning? Plain and simple. If you would like to work on your educational side of landscaping so that you can be a much better friend to your landscape, as always, and I encourage you to support the channel, is check out our website. It's always right here somewhere, either in the description or in one corner or another. Depends on where Meister wants to put it. In any case, there you'll find the 15-step DIY checklist with the accompanying audio podcast to go with it. The very inexpensive and yet thoroughly educational ebook, Landscaping Simplified, and my flagship of the website is the DIY course, reduced to a very reasonable price that you can take and educate yourself in depth within a 5-day period without a problem. I encourage you to check it out, and I appreciate anybody who wants to support us. Okay, this video is just a little bit shorter than the average one, which some comments have suggested. So there you go. That relationship between you and your landscape. Make sure that you nurture that relationship. Be a good friend to that landscape that you pay so much for every single month. And as always, I will see you guys next Friday with a new, different video. Don't forget to check out the podcast. I will see you next week. And as always, to your landscape success. Take care for now.